It's time for a new video, and this time I'm not making it alone. I have somebody with me, Sharmaine, and she will help me making this vlog.
Hello.
Hello everybody! Welcome to my channel. Magandang araw sa iyong lahat. Welcome po sa aking channel. It's time for a new video. It's time for a new vlog. And I'm not making it alone this time. I got a lot of questions from Filipinos that are wondering if they are still approving visas because with the whole corona situation, and also if they can travel to Belgium because Belgium is closed for part of the people. Also, it's not easy to travel inside the Philippines. So in this video, I have the help of Sharmaine, and Sharmaine, she will introduce herself a little bit. First of all, welcome in Belgium. Welcome here in my vlog. I'm really happy that you will help me.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure.
For people, nobody will recognize your face, I guess, because it's the first time that you're here in the vlog. So can you introduce yourself quickly, who you are, where you're coming from? And
so I'm Sharmaine, and I came from the Philippines. I live in Bulacan, which is about 30 minutes away from Manila, and I came here last Sunday, which is May 16th. So I've been here almost a week, and I'm doing pretty good. It's kind of cold, but it's okay.
Yeah. You didn't came really in the good time of the year for the weather. It's not really perfect, the weather.
Yeah, it's very different from the Philippines right now, at least.
Yeah, I can imagine, because it's summer in Philippines and it's not really summer yet in Belgium.
Yeah.
Now, you just mentioned it that you arrived here on Sunday. So you just arrived here in Belgium. So it means that you had to do the whole procedure to make sure that you could leave the Philippines and that you can travel here to Belgium.
Yeah. So going through different cities in the Philippines right now, there are certain restrictions, but they aren't as strict as they were before, because there are different types of quarantine in the Philippines. So right now, I think it's mostly general community quarantine, which is it means that all the people are more mobile than they were before when it was enhanced community quarantine. But of course, you have to prepare yourself. You have to be online most of the time, because there are different tracing apps differing per city. So you have to abide by their tracing apps and just register, and you scan with your QR code wherever you go.
So that's already a really good thing, that it's getting less strict in the Philippines. Because I know that before it was really not easy. Even to go to the shop, you needed to have special requirements. So that's already some good news. Now, of course, first of all, you need to have your visa approved. And we're not going to talk about the whole procedure again, because it's a kind of long procedure, I guess.
So it's very long.
Yeah, I will just put here on top a link to my first videos, how to start the procedure, and there is a whole playlist about fiance visa, so you can watch it there. Now, I want to ask to Sharmaine, what were your things that you bumped into that were not as easy as you are thinking, or that didn't go as planned?
Yeah, so working through everything to get here, it was definitely different, because usually, I guess before there was COVID, a lot of governments accepted walk-ins, but now really it's by schedule. So you have to plan your appointments way ahead, because sometimes it's 2-3 weeks wait, sometimes it can take a month before they can accommodate you. So it's really good to plan ahead. And of course, there's a lot of since there was a lot of restrictions before, that it's really different for each city. So I'm not sure from which city you're coming from. Just I have to tell you that you have to be prepared. So usually now when you get your visa, it comes with a travel certificate because there's a lot of restrictions when it comes to traveling internationally, especially in Belgium. They don't accept all travelers, but there are exceptions. So if you are family or if you're an OFW or you have work here, then you're part of the group that can travel, but you have to make sure that you have your travel certificate with you, which comes with your visa. Because otherwise, if you don't have it, I don't think you'll get through immigration, right? Even here in the Philippines, and they'll also ask for it when you get to Belgium.
That's a good thing that you mentioned that, because it was not before. You never get like permission to travel because you had that visa in your passport, and that counts as your permission to travel. So it's good to know that the people that are getting their visa, that they also should have that extra paper with them in their hand carry and not just in your luggage.
Yeah, you can also have it saved on your phone. And what I advise is when you do get your travel certificate, you really have to read it and make sure all the details are correct. Because in my experience, they got some things wrong about the information on my passport. So once there's something wrong with it, then I don't think it'll be valid in immigration. So you really have to check. And if in case there are corrections that need to be made, you have to email them immediately, and then they email it maybe like 1 2 days after you notify them. But it's really important because for me, I didn't really mind it at first. When I saw it, I was like, okay, good, I have my travel certificate. But then I thought, maybe there's something wrong here. So if I didn't think about that, I wouldn't have read it and I wouldn't have noticed that there was something wrong, and that would have been big trouble for me if I go through immigration with the wrong paper. So yeah, it's a stamped document, but if there are corrections and they do send you a copy, then you are okay with just printing it out. They'll accept it in immigration, even if it's just a printout.
Yeah, I can imagine. You mentioned that you're from Bulacan, so that's not really far from Manila. But I can imagine the Philippines has more than 7,100 islands. If you're from an island and papers are not correct, that it will give you a lot of stress.
Yeah, a lot of stress.
And the whole procedure, it's already having a lot of stress. So the moment that you're getting your visa, all your stress should be gone. But it's not yet finished that time, because now, as I could hear from a few people, the CFO also changed. Before you can follow it in advance. That's what my wife did. The moment that she applied for the visa, she make her appointment with CFO so she can follow already the seminar. And when she got her visa, she just had to go to the office, showed the proof that she followed the seminar, and she just got her sticker. And that was it. It was like done in 10 minutes. But also with the COVID, it also changed.
Yeah, I think in some ways it got easier, but also there's a lot of there was more waiting time. Because I don't know, in my experience, when I tried to sign up first at CFO, it asked for a visa instead of a visa application. I didn't see an option where it said you can just put in your visa application. They really asked for the visa. So they asked for your passport and your visa, and you're supposed to scan it and email it to them before you can go through the CFO. So that's in my experience. So I'm not sure if you can still do it in advance, but for me, I waited for my visa before I did my CFO. But on the other hand, it's much easier in the aspect that you can do it all online. So you don't have to go to the office because all the offices for the CFO are closed. They're not holding classes. There's no classroom setting. So once you sign up, you get assigned to an agent, and you basically have your interaction through email. There's no face-to-face, whatever. It's all through email and online. So once you're assigned to an agent, they ask you for a few things. So they ask for the history of your relationship, some documents such as the affidavit of support. It's really most of the things that you already submitted when you had your visa. So make sure that all the documents that you had when you were applying for your visa, you still keep it in place because they might ask for it when you're also doing your CFO.
Yeah, that's important. That every document that you have, that you don't put it too far away, because I know from experiences
Mhm.
that once you applied for the visa, it's always possible that the embassy will contact you
Mhm.
and that they will ask another document, or they ask a copy because they lost one of your papers.
Yeah.
Normally it should not happen, but in real it's happening. So don't put your papers too far away.
Yeah, don't throw away anything. Just keep it in one place. Make sure you have everything, because since it's a different, if I mean, it's they're all government, but they're different branches. Not all of them have one database where they keep everything. So people will keep asking you for this and for that. So it's always handy to keep everything in place. And then after you submit those, you get a call from your agent. And in my experience, it was like a 30-minute call, I suppose. So it wasn't really a seminar, but I don't know, maybe it depends on what kind of visa you're getting and depending on your circumstances on what they're going to say to you. But for me, it was a short 30-minute call, and then they tell me, okay, we're done. All you have to do is pay online. So they do over the counter payments. There's also a lot of online transactions that are available. For me, I did Gcash because it's most convenient. And then they send you a certificate, a temporary one, because they also send you the actual certificate and the sticker that you're supposed to stick in your passport. An actual copy is sent to you, but sometimes with COVID restrictions, maybe the deliveries will get delayed. So just in case that your sticker and your certificate doesn't arrive on time before your flight, then you can print out your temporary certificate that they sent to you through email, and then you can show it to immigration and you're good.
Okay, so you don't really need the official sticker if it's not in time before you travel.
Yes, exactly.
And how long did it take to do your CFO? Because I know before, and that's why my wife did it in advance,
Mhm.
that there were waiting lists for like 3 weeks. And I can imagine the moment that your visa is approved, that
Mhm.
yeah, you have to give your flying tickets. You
Mhm.
cannot count in advance like how many waiting time that the CFO has.
Well, for me, I think when I got my visa, I did it the next day. I signed up for CFO, and then the day that I signed up, they partnered me up with an agent. She called me the next day. We did the interview. She gave me the certificate, and I paid. That was it. It's like a one-day process now. But
And
really, I'm not sure when, because I don't think the actual certificate and the sticker has arrived yet. But the temporary certificate is good enough. They give it you right away. After you pay it, you get your certificate.
and did you had to mention when was your flight to Belgium, or they didn't ask for that?
Actually, they did. They did ask for the ticket, like your flight details, but it's really just proof that you're actually traveling, you're about to travel, and I guess it's to have a gauge of how fast they have to be.
Yeah.
Although I didn't get anything yet, so I don't know what was the purpose of asking, but
That
they
was
do ask for it. Yeah.
that was also my thinking. If they know that your flight is like in 5 days, they have to hurry up to arrange your CFO.
Ideally, we wish that's how it happens, but it doesn't happen. No, I haven't gotten mine yet.
Yeah, you already mentioned before also that before you could just walk into offices in the Philippines to get stamps and documents, but now you have to have like appointments. So it's something that you really have to count in advance. If
Mhm.
your visa is approved today, that you don't fly in like 2 days, because maybe you will not get an appointment in time in some offices.
Yes, especially when it comes. I mean, I know there's a lot of because right now, if you're going to travel, then of course they're going to ask you to do a PCR test, which is the COVID test, and you have to test negative. And I know there are a lot of centers that do the COVID test, but it depends on the center how full they are. Like for me, I was just I had to wait for 4 days. Well, I mean, because to travel to Belgium, you need to have a PCR test that's taken within the 72
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
Right? And if you're having a layover, then that country also has their own requirements. Like for me, I traveled with Qatar Airways, so my stopover was in Doha. in Doha, they require you to have a COVID test that was taken within 48 hours of your flight.
Yeah, that's also what I sometimes hear, because you mentioned now 72 hours. A lot of times you can hear the test has to be like in 48 hours. So it lucky that 72 hours is valid then in the Philippines. So you have a little bit more time, and also for your stopover, because I don't know how long your stopover was, but if I'm traveling to Philippines or something, I make sure I have a stopover from like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. But
Yeah.
sometimes, you have stopovers from 12 hours, and then you can get into trouble with your PCR test.
Yeah, actually, the 72 hours is valid in Belgium. That's what they're requiring.
Uh,
Because you know that there's not a lot of direct flights going to Belgium, so they usually have a stopover. So for Qatar, they require you to have a COVID test that's taken within 48 hours. And then for Belgium, they require it within 72 hours. So it means you only have to take one PCR test to travel from the Philippines to Belgium. Because otherwise, if it has a different requirement, then you can also take a COVID test in Doha before your next flight. But it's good that it's 72 hours for Belgium, so that means you only have to take that one test and make sure it's like the latest it can be,
yeah.
so that you
So-
won't have any problems.
So
Yeah.
the good advice, okay, you were close to Manila, but if you're traveling and you're coming from more far away from Manila or another island, better that you are like 2 or 3 days in advance in Manila, so you have time to do your test and to get the results. Because if you're doing a test here in Belgium, it's taking around 24 hours before you have your result. So you
Yeah.
cannot do the test now and hope that you can fly in another 6 or 7 hours. So you have to be make sure that you're in time.
Yeah, but then again, we also offer at the COVID test center. So there's the regular COVID test where you can get your results in 2 to 3 days, but there's also the rushed one. So it's a little bit more expensive, but yeah, you get it. For me, I was able to get it in 12 hours. I got my
Oh,
result in 12 hours, so it was good.
So the priority is still taking around 12 hours.
Yeah, around 12 hours, but it's good.
I know they are busy now here on the Belgium airport, that they are doing for the PCR test, like the priority, you get the result in 3 hours.
Oh, that's
So I'm a little shocked that the priority is still 12 hours in the Philippines. Now, maybe something other interesting, if you want to mention it, of course. How much did you have to pay for your PCR test in the Philippines?
Oh yeah, so for the regular rates, for the one, can I mention like clinics, like specific? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a normal rate for all the clinics, or it's like it depends on the clinic, because normally here in Belgium it's like regularized and it should be all the same price.
Yeah, it's different because for the first clinic that I inquired from, their normal PCR test, which takes 2 to 3 days for you to get the result, it was 3,600. But if you wanted to be rushed, like a 24-hour result, then it's 4,000.
Yeah.
But I was thinking maybe it could be cheaper in other clinics, so I started inquiring in different ones. But the next one I asked for, their regular rate was 4,600, and their rush rate is 5,600. So there are cheaper ones. So you really have to inquire with a lot of clinics, which is more convenient to you, like location and also the price point, because it can get really expensive.
Yeah. And you did your test in Manila itself, or you did it more close to Bulacan?
I did it in Manila. It was in Quezon City, actually.
Quezon City. Okay, yeah. Because maybe that's interesting for people also to know that best to have it close to the airport, that you don't lose that much time. But it's good to know that it's around 3,600 to 4,000, 4,500 pesos that you have to count. Did you have to pay it cash, or?
You can choose to pay in advance. They accept GCash and other online bank transfers, but you can also just put in, you're gonna pay when it's done. Yeah, it's a quick procedure.
Yeah, because I remember that for the medical that my wife did, she only could pay it cash. Now, she didn't have that much cash in her pocket because it was 8,800 pesos. So she had to go to withdraw it first and everything. But it's good that you can have different kind of payment, so you don't have to count in advance.
Yeah, they
Now,
make it available now because of all the restrictions. Even when I did my medical, I was able to pay it online.
yeah, it's a little different because yeah, it's already 4 years later now. My wife did the procedure 4 years ago, but
Fine.
you watched my videos, of course, and there are not a lot of things that changed, or there are a lot of changes on this spot. For example, with the DFA or things like that.
I think with the DFA, it's really the same, but yeah, you have to have a schedule way ahead because it depends on which DFA branch you're going to. Because some DFA branches have a month wait before they can accommodate
Oh,
you.
okay.
Some only have 2 weeks, sometimes days, and it depends. Like if you're going to NCR in Manila, if you're going to DFA in Manila, the thing is, it's a long wait, but also you can get your documents on the same day.
Yeah.
But and that's only in Manila, because I had mine done in Pampanga since the one in Manila has a month wait. So I didn't want to wait that long. So I did mine in Pampanga. I was able to submit my documents right away after I made a schedule. But the thing is, if you're doing it in another city, then you'll have to go back for your documents after 3 business days.
Yeah.
But if you go to Manila, you can get it on the same day. So kind of convenient.
And the 3 business days, it was already the priority or not? Because I know before it was you could pay 100 pesos for one document with a red ribbon.
Also,
And then you had to wait another 2 or 3 days, but you could have the priority, and then you paid 200 pesos, like the double, but you could have it the next day.
yeah, there's also the express one, but of course, it's more convenient when, you can get it on the same day. So
Yeah, of
it's
course.
really nice that you schedule your appointment ahead in Manila. So you don't have to go back because, it's a lot of stress. It's also hard to travel in the Philippines, especially with public transportation because of COVID. So I
Yeah.
really advise you schedule way ahead, use Manila, and get your documents the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's much easier.
yeah. So if I understood you correctly, you didn't have to have any extra documents to travel from Bulacan to Manila, like, for example, a certificate or a clearance from the barangay or something. You didn't need that to travel to Manila.
No, during that time I didn't have to because it was after the enhanced community quarantine.
Yeah.
If I did during the enhanced community quarantine, I have to have a sort of letter to show for that proves that I am going to this place for a specific purpose and is very urgent.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to have your community quarantine pass.
Yeah.
But since I did my papers right after the enhanced community quarantine was over, all I had to do was register on the contact tracing app on that specific city, and then you can just scan it with your phone using the QR code, and you're good to go. Or if you don't have a cell phone with you or something, they just ask you to fill out a form. But of course, it's safer to do it on the phone because you don't have to touch anything.
Yeah, and it's also a lot easier if you just have to scan it and you don't have to fill a whole bunch of documents.
Yeah, because it creates a crowd also.
So,
which is
so
not
the best advice that you can give, I guess, and that I can give is check good online because yeah, you were close to Manila. Maybe there are different requirements and restrictions if you're coming from another part of the Philippines.
Yeah. So
So
really do your research before you travel, even inside.
yeah. And was somebody able to give you advice about the procedure, or you just have to find everything yourself? Or could you go to the barangay to ask information, or to the city hall, or it was just like search it yourself?
Yeah, mostly I just searched everything myself because I feel like the different government offices, I mean, of course, they're helpful, but there are certain things that I feel they're not aware of. So it's to ask advice from them about traveling, but also you have to do your own research just so that you're prepared for anything.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of stress to keep going back because you have the wrong documents, you have to get a new one. So it's actually, you have to do both.
Yeah.
You have to inquire from the different government offices, and you have to do your own research just to be prepared for everything. Yeah.
So
Oh, and
that,
another thing, sorry. To be able to travel, right now you need your passenger locator form. So when you get your ticket, they usually ask a waiver from you from the airline, but also you have to fill out a passenger locator form for Belgium, because otherwise, if you don't fill it, yeah, you're gonna have problems with the immigration here because you really need to show a paper for
and
it.
they already, you had to download the paper, or
Sorry?
did you have to download that paper?
Yeah, I downloaded a paper. You're supposed to fill it out right before you leave.
Yeah.
So right before I left, I filled it out. I printed it out because it also comes with a QR code, and then you give it to immigration when you arrive here in Belgium. They only really require it when you're in Belgium already because it's a Belgian thing.
And you didn't have to show it in the check-in that you had a passenger location form. You didn't have to show it in the Philippines that you already filled it in.
No, for the Philippines, I only had to show my visa and passport, the waiver for the airline that they provide for you,
Yeah.
your negative PCR test, and for some reason they also asked for my affidavit of support. I'm not sure why, but yeah, they also asked for that and the
Yeah.
travel certificate.
Normally, what was before then with my wife, the affidavit of support, the 3 bis that everybody knows, she had to show it here with the immigration in Belgium. She didn't have to show it in the Philippines.
Yeah, that was actually odd for me too. I wasn't expecting it. So, yeah, most of my documents, I had it with me, but those sort of papers, it was on my carry-on, like underneath all my clothes.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no. So I have to get everything out, get this certain document. But it's a good thing that I also had it on my phone. You have to keep it handy because sometimes you become surprised that they ask the certain documents that you were not aware you needed to show. So really just keep it accessible to you.
So the best thing you can do is just put all your papers, like your whole file, just in your hand carry.
Yeah, yeah. It's very convenient to do so because otherwise, if it's in your checked-in bag, then you might encounter some problems.
Now, another question that I mostly can hear, but it depends file from file from file. So, Sharmaine, I don't know if you remember, but when did you bring your papers to the VFS? You remember that date?
Yeah, I bought my stuff at VFS on January 26th. And then
when did you get approved?
April already, yeah.
So you're really lucky because it only took around 4 months. That was for the file.
Yeah, like 3 months actually, because it takes a long time. So they got my papers on January 26th, and then they did the interview and all that. But I was only registered in their database a month after, and then 2 months waiting for approval.
That's still quick because normally it's taking around 6 weeks to send the file from the Philippines to Belgium. Is there something that you're thinking about that we didn't mention?
Yeah, well, yesterday I was visited by the police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
to see if you really arrived here.
Yeah.
Or it was because of your quarantine?
Yeah, it was because of my quarantine and because they were informed that there was a new person coming from a different country entering the city. So I would advise that because I know some people don't always follow the quarantine rules. I mean, before it used to be 2 weeks, but now it's just for 7 days. So, you can survive 7 days in quarantine. So luckily I was, following the quarantine rules because yesterday I was visited by the police.
Yeah.
And they were me.
So you have to do 7 days of quarantine the moment that you arrive here in Belgium. And the police is really checking on you if you really followed it.
They are checking. I was very surprised because I didn't think it was that strict. But in my head, I was thinking, these are the rules. I have to follow the rules, so I stay at home. And I was in the garden. I mean, you don't have to isolate yourself in the room. you can go around the house. Actually, you're allowed to walk around the neighborhood, but
Yeah,
as much as
normally, like in nature, that you don't have any contact with other people. You're allowed to get a fresh nose and to smell some fresh air,
yeah.
but not to
But
come in places where you can meet people.
yeah, but yesterday I was just in our garden. I was washing the car with my fiance, and then the police came. The car passed by, and we were joking around. We didn't know the police was there for me. The police car just passed by, and my fiance was making jokes. He was saying, "Oh, they're here to deport you." And I'm like, "Oh no, they're here to deport me. I should run away." And I was like standing up. I was about to run away as a joke, and the police stopped at our house. They got out and they were like, "Yeah, we're here for Sharmaine." And I'm like, "Oh, so it is for me."
So you really were afraid that you will be deported.
I wasn't afraid because I know I had the right documents. They really just asked for my negative COVID test. That's all they really asked for. And they were just checking if you were quarantining, because if you're not quarantining, then you get fined, I think, 500 euros.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's against the quarantine rules, but normally if you have a problem or you're not following the rules, it's 250 euro. But I don't know if you're really not doing your quarantine. You do it like really on purpose and everything. Maybe the fine is higher. I have no experiences with that.
Yeah, well, because everyone, since I'm quarantining at this house and I'm with different people, so it's my fiance and his family, so they also have to stay in quarantine.
Yeah.
Everyone in contact with has to stay with quarantine, and they got papers from their work that specifically says it's 500 euros fine
Yeah,
if they're
yeah.
quarantining with me.
So that's good also that you mentioned, because I can imagine you arrive here in Belgium. A lot of people were waiting a long time to finally meet you and to see you and to welcome you here in Belgium. And you're not really allowed to see people. If
Yeah.
you're seeing people, the people also have to be like punished and being quarantined because they welcomed you and they had contact with you.
Yeah. So we're all just really following the quarantine rules. It's always good to follow.
Yeah, it's not a joke. It's a lot of people's here and a lot of followers from me. They didn't get married yet, so they are separated from their loved ones because they're not allowed to enter the Philippines. And yeah, the documents are not ready, or the papers are not ready, or they didn't have the requirements yet. So the Filipina cannot come to Belgium. So it's really hard. So the sooner that the corona is finished and we can travel all along again, that will be better. So better to follow the rules.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you very, very much for your time, Sharmaine. I really hope that you will like Belgium. And I'm really happy that you wanted to share this information because you experienced it really like in the last moment, because it's less than 1 week ago that you had to do everything. So I'm really happy that we can share this and to give this information to the other Filipinos and Filipinas in the Philippines that are planning to travel or that's still waiting for the procedure, and that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. And that visas are still approved if your file is okay, and that it's not because of its corona that they don't do anything about your file anymore. So
it's a lot of frustration, but just need a lot of patience. I know there's a lot of struggles to get the visa, but they will accommodate you if you have everything, all the documents you need. And even if you make mistakes, they're just, they're going to come back to you and be like, hey, I just need to change this. So they're still very helpful. They still accommodate you, even though there's a lot of COVID rules. But I know it's frustrating. There's a lot of struggles. There's a lot of misunderstandings when you're trying to make your way here to Belgium, but don't lose hope. Just keep doing what you need to do and you'll get here. I hope everything I was able to give you was helpful in one way or another. I don't know if I was able to give you that much useful information. Hopefully I have.
yeah, but it's always useful information because you just experienced it. It's Not that my information that I'm sharing on my YouTube, it's already 4 years old, but yeah, I can hear it from a lot of people that it's still active and that it's still the correct information now. Yeah, then COVID started and some rules got a little bit changed. It's more like adjusted. It's not really changed. It's more like adjusted, like the appointments that you have to make. But I'm happy that we can share this information to everybody.
Yeah, same.
So if you didn't subscribe yet to my channel, make sure you do same like Sharmaine did. Follow my channel. Don't forget also to click the notification bell so you get notifications when the new videos are uploaded, so you keep and stay up to date with everything. And I really want to thank Sharmaine for being here with me.
No problem.
Yeah. Give a comment down in the video here in the description if you also are doing the same things now. If you just experienced it, if you're still struggling with something, and of course, if you think that it was helpful that Sharmaine did here, please comment it down in the video. Please just put a reaction down in the video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Or a thumbs up if you didn't like it.
No.
So thank you, Sharmaine, and maybe we can meet up when Corona is finished.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm really happy that you were here in my vlog, and I really hope that it didn't do a lot of pings, because people are sending me messages here with questions in in my Facebook. So I hope that the sound is not too loud so everybody could follow.
I was only able to hear you, actually, just you. Our conversation. It was good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much. And for everybody that's watching this vlog, for everybody that's watching this channel, I hope to see you in the next one. Paalam, tot ziens.